This is Joel and Jesse. Say hi to them, please. Hey, you think they got friends in the church or something? First of all, tell us just a little bit about you guys. How long have you two been married? Tell us a little bit about that, how you met, those kind of things.
We've been married for a year and a half now, and we met because Joel was my brother David's roommate in an internship in Kansas City called Fire in the Night. Joel joined the Army shortly after that, and our family was closer for him to come visit than his. His family lived in Iowa, so he would just pop over rather frequently.
Some of you may know that January is like, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Did I say it right?
You did.
And Jesse is a part of a ministry called Covering House that we want to talk about a little bit today. And next week, we actually have the director, the founder of that ministry is going to come and speak to us about this whole critical issue of human trafficking that's a blight on our nation. And we're able to do a little bit to talk about, to work on that. Jessica, tell us a little bit, though, how you bumped into Covering House and how you ended up there.
Yeah, my director in the musical theater program at Missouri Baptist University was doing an awareness drama for the Covering House right after my senior year, and she asked me to write the music for this drama. And it was a compilation of interviews with the staff of the Covering House, who at that time were seeing girls on an out-client basis. Just they might be living at home or in another residential facility and would see therapists and do groups with the Covering House staff. But they didn't have a home house at that point. And in fall of 2014, they were able to open a house that was really just given to them, like $1 a month kind of thing. And they were able to open it up for 5 girls to be in this home and to work the program they had designed for this purpose.
So you write music, but how did you get further involved?
Sure. So after that, they just had openings, and I had, from a pretty young age, had this idea that at some point I would be a house mom. Like retired years, like, oh, when I'm old, I'll be a house mom in one of these places that takes in girls and kids who've been trafficked. And but they had positions available after college, and I was like, or I'll do it now. Or now.
So that was several years ago. Talk a little bit about this whole arena of trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking. It's this blight, it's this epidemic, but give us some frame of reference about what's going on in our country.
I think probably most people have a picture when you say sex trafficking or human trafficking of the movie Taken, or people being trafficked into the country. We, the Covering House, work with our domestic kids, especially the population of kids who run away. Runaways are at 1 in 3 in 48 hours is the estimate of how much time it takes for a runaway to start being trafficked once they've gone onto the street. And it's not just runaways. I mean, it happens in families, or could seem like she's doing fine in school and have a boyfriend who starts selling sex favors with her to pay off his debts, or all of these situations are considered sex trafficking. So it can look very different. It could be, we've had situations where a mom starts selling her kids either for drugs, or it's like the family business is prostitution. She starts training the children from a very young age. So you have all of these
Shocking.
situations that are really just total depravity, and where we are as a nation is very shocking and sad. And you kind of have to focus on what you can do to help kids who've gone through it, and what you can do to train kids in prevention, like internet safety, social media safety. You have all of these kids running around with iPhones with all of these apps on there, and no one knows what they're doing on them. You have Tinder and all of these things that they just start using where, they can really be, when Snapchat first came out, girls would send, oh, you just send me a picture of you. No one will ever see it because it's Snapchat, it'll just go away. Well, screenshot. So then you'll have situations where girls will be blackmailed, basically. Well, now you have to do all these things because I have this picture of you that I've, screenshotted. So you have all of these different types of situations that all falls under what would be sex trafficking.
Talk about your place, what you guys do for the young ladies that are there.
The program at the Covering House is a year long, and these girls could come to us either because a judge has placed them with us. If they're a runaway, they're going to be in the system. They'll be either, and I'll back up a little bit because I think it's important to know I didn't know all of these terms or know really what the social work field looked like for teenagers when I started. So basically, if you are a teenager and your home environment is not safe necessarily, or if you're just unstable or you're constant running away or you have committed some kind of crime, you're going to be probably placed in a residential facility, and that could be with Division of Youth Services. There's a few different residentials for kids in Missouri that are some of the kids think of them as kiddie prison, but they're just, big institutions of where we put kids that they're not orphanages, but so these kids, when they're put in there, often run from them. There's a high turnover of how long these kids stay. If they can run, they will, and they get in a habit of running. There's really not any of these places that is specific to services for kids for trauma, whether sexual exploitation or trafficking. There's no services specific to those needs. So when our founder started the Covering House, she wanted there to be a place that was specific to the needs of these girls and boys too, but right now we're just having girls in the home. She saw that there was just really nothing. There's these bigger residentials, but they don't have the services that they need. And who she brought on her team was some strong believers with a history of working in the residential system who said, I want this to be a challenge to the way we do residential. So really the program is very intentional. It's very relational. It incorporates a lot of different kinds of therapy, they do equine therapy. They do a lot of stuff with gardening, because as we know, there's a lot of ways you can see yourself in how you tend to a plant and take out weeds and all of those things. So they do a lot of cool things with the gardening and with working therapeutically with that. They homeschool with the teacher, so a lot of what they're doing in the classroom is tied to what they're doing in therapy and what all the different character traits we're trying to highlight and ways we're trying to build relationship with them, because a lot of them is they're not willing to trust. Relationship has been broken for them and they don't know what healthy relationship is. So it's really focused on building those connections and building trust.
Year-long program that they minister to the ladies, help them educationally, and a number of the things that Jesse was just talking about. Hoping and goal, right, is some kind of emotional, relational health, and obviously Covering House is very interesting. It's not a Christian ministry. It's a secular, if that's the right word, but it's infused virtually with all believers running it. And so they end up having people sent to them by the state because they're not religious. And then they minister the word of the Lord to them and minister the blessing of the Lord to them. And so it's very exciting. Next week, the founder will be here to speak to us about this in a very significant, straightforward way. I met with Jessie, and Dee Dee is her name, a couple of months ago. I just feel like we have to get plugged into this issue. It's easy enough for us to, at a distance, say, man, that's bad, and watch it on the news and say, wow, that's bad. And in a token way, pray for it when I pray. But what do I do personally to be a part of remedying some part of this situation? And that's what these guys are doing. They're being proactive.
So we work with minors, and in the home we can take girls who are age 13 to 18, 13 to 17. If they turn 18 in our program, we can get a variance for that. And we've had referrals in our out client services as young as 7.
Wow. I think the place they have right now, I think you said you have 5 young people in there, and that place is a miracle how they got it. Dee Dee will tell us next week about a gigantic miracle that's taking place where they're going to be able to triple the amount of young ladies they're taking in, and just spectacular. Thank you.